So you've decided to try Airtable. Congratulations, you've made a good choice. Airtable is an incredible tool that in this video we're going to be using in order to build a systematic video production process tool that you can walk away with having that in place in order to better manage your own YouTube videos, or maybe you haven't started that yet. That you will walk away with having in hand. However, in walking through that tool build, you'll also be introduced to a lot of the foundational tools and concepts inside Airtable that make it a superior tool to Excel, for example. So without further ado, let's take a look.
This is Mr. Optimized.
Before we begin, the first place to start is an overview of what it is that we're actually going to be building. That way you can decide right now before watching, some of the video, whether the video is watching at all. So let's take a look at what we're going to be building. I have here Airtable opened up, and this is the kanban view that we're going to have at the end of the video. Each of these cards that you see here is a video idea or a video title. And the idea is every time you get a new idea for a video, you enter it into new/banked phase of the process, and you can do that from your phone. I have a portion of this video where I'll show you a shortcut where you can enter it directly from your phone, a mobile-friendly solution, so that you can quickly capture ideas, just like when you're getting out of the shower or first thing in the morning, whatever. By the way, if you're looking for a custom approach to your Airtable database setup, I'm offering free consultations now. If you look in the description below, the very first link, you can book a quick call with me, one-on-one, completely free. We'll discuss your goals, the specific problem you're trying to address, and together we'll come up with a customized solution inside Airtable for your particular situation. Back to the video. And then after it's been decided that you're gonna do a YouTube video, you move it over into the favorite ideas tab. That's where I distinguish, because I might have 50 or more ideas over here on this side, but I wanna be able to narrow that down a little bit so I can focus on the ones that I wanna do next. And then, so I distinguish a handful over here in the favorite ideas. The next stage of the process then is where I actually package the video. That means that I've put together the thumbnail, which is what these images are here. Those are what you see right there. And probably, hopefully, I've also created the description for the video as well. I've written out what I'm going to write, what the video is going to be about. I've outlined probably the chapters for the video. I have templates in place that I use for the descriptions of my videos now, which makes it so much easier. And then once I've gotten the packages in place, another column that I've created for myself, because I might have several packages done ahead of time, say like 7 or 8 all in this one column, I'll then pick out what are my favorite packages that I want to work on and actually recording and editing next. And so then I'll have maybe 1 to 2 to 3 over here in the favorite packages area. And then finally, this is where the real magic happens outside of Airtable, where I'm actually doing the recording, I'm getting the editing done, and then I upload it to YouTube. And as soon as I've got it uploaded to YouTube and I've scheduled it for the day that I want it to be scheduled or to be posted, then I put it in this column for uploaded. And then I might have a handful of videos posted in the last handful of weeks, and over time this gets to be a little much. I like to have a small record of the videos I've posted lately, but then after a certain amount of time has passed, I like to have the option of archiving those videos so that I don't have to look at them anymore. And so my earliest video, after a while, I might put it over in the archive column, and you see as soon as I move it over to that column, it disappears so that I don't have to look at it anymore. Okay, let's get started. You're in Airtable, you've created an account. I trust that you know how to do that. It's free, very simple and easy. You just need an email and a login. And then once you get in here, you're gonna come down here to the create button. Depending on how long it's been since I've made the video and you're watching this, the interface might change up a little bit. You know how software is. But just find the create button, build an app on your own. You don't wanna mess with Omni. It's in their AI tool. I'm sure it's fine. I've just never used it before and I don't feel like I need it. Okay. the first thing I like to do when I create a new Airtable database is get rid of all of this excess stuff here. I like to start from a blank slate, as close to blank as I can, because that's just how I like to do things. We're going to start by creating all of the fields that we need for this database for tracking our YouTube videos. The first thing I'm going to do is this first field is called our primary field. And that means that each record that we have, in this case, it'll be each video or each video idea. It's how we're going to identify each of those video ideas. So in our case, we're going to go idea/title, because an idea might be an idea at first. When I type it in after just getting out of the shower, I had an idea for a YouTube video and I want to capture it really quickly. I'm going to put the idea in there, and then later as I play with it and I mold it, it might turn into a title where I've done some keyword research and I've crafted it to be more compelling for a title. That will be then the final thing that is used here for identifying the video itself. The next field is a date field, is a date type field, and we're going to call it target date. That, like it sounds, is the date that I want to upload the YouTube video by. My personal schedule is every Saturday I post a new video. So every Saturday, every new Saturday's date is what that will be. The thumbnail is the next thing. In order to upload a thumbnail, and by the way, the thumbnail, if you're not familiar, the word thumbnail means, because nobody told me, I had to figure it out. The thumbnail means the picture that is featured as the image that is attached to your video and that people see before they decide whether or not they're going to click into it. So it's like the heading or the header of your video, and it's a very important piece of it, and it's for that reason very important that we planned it ahead of time. An attachment field will enable us to, whereas this field type is a date field, we type in a specific date, like for example, 9/27 I think is the next Saturday. This one is a different type of data. It enables us to upload a specific file type. You can upload a lot of different kinds of files, like PDFs and Word documents, things like that. But in our case, because it's a thumbnail field, we want to upload images. So probably JPEG, PNG, things like that. The next field is a description field. That's where I'm gonna plan out the description for the YouTube video, because that's another thing that when people are making YouTube videos, they're just getting started, that tends to be something that's kind of an afterthought. It's, you made the video and you go through all the trouble, and then once you get to uploading it, then you realize, oh yeah, crap, I have to write the description too, and you kind of throw it together lazily, or you just skip it altogether. When you're just starting out, there's no problem with that. That's better than doing nothing. However, in wanting to plan these things ahead of time, the thumbnail and the description, it's helpful to have a place to have that be the home for. Okay, so long text is what we're going to use. That's the field type for typing more than like a paragraph, especially for a description, which could include include multiple paragraphs. We're going to call it description. Next is the status field. I'm going to use a single select field type, which enables us to have multiple options to choose from, and single select means that only one of them will be selected at any given time, whereas multi-select would enable us to select more than one and label each record with multiple labels, for example. But in this case, a status field is one at a time, wherein this is really a big part of this whole system. We're going to be using this single select field to identify each video that we have, or each idea that we have. Where is it in terms of the overall process of video creation? Is it in the early stages of just having been ideated, and we've just come up with the idea? Is it maybe one of our prioritized ideas that we're focusing on right now, or has it already been uploaded? And then after it's been uploaded, then we also want an option to archive it, to get it out of our view, so we don't have to think about it anymore once enough time has passed from it being published. So the single select field would be that one. And then finally we have date created. This one I like to have as another field to sort by, because I like to sort by two fields. The first one being the target date, the date that I'm aiming to publish the video or that it's been published already. I want to sort by that date. But then in case there is overlap, which there never is, but just in case, I also have a secondary sorting filter that sorts by when the video was created, so that the older videos that I've made longer ago are going to be, I think, deprioritized in the sorting, but we'll have that option for once we have it. The field type is created time. The time itself doesn't really matter as much to me, but I'll leave it in there as just because that'll enable Airtable to, when I create a new record, it'll show a record of when it was made, and then that way I can put these ones ahead of that one or vice versa. The next thing we want to do is create our Kanban view where all the magic is going to happen. The Kanban view is made possible by the status field. Because it's a single select field, we have to have a single select field or something like that in order to have a Kanban view. We're going to add our options first. For me, the way that I do this, as you saw in the preview, I use the first stage of the process for each video idea is new/banked. The next is favorite ideas, so that I can pull from the bank of ideas that I have over into sort of a distinguished column of ideas that I want to focus on or that are my favorite ones. And then I have packaged, which means that I've put together the video's thumbnail and probably description, or at least I've gotten started on the description. And certainly I've gotten the template laid out for it, because the description template is used. I use generally the same thing every time, which is really helpful, huge time saver. And then after packaging a video, in case I have multiple packages already lined out, I also have a stage for favorite packages, so that I can distinguish out of the bank of packages that I've completed. These are my favorite ones that I want to focus on next. And then I have uploaded. And finally, I have a place for archiving. Now that we've made those different status options, you can see them all listed here, we can make our Kanban view. We're going to come over here to this little hamburger menu, just hover over it. You don't have to click it. Click Create New, Kanban. There's different types of views that you can make from this same database, which is a really cool part about Airtable. Once you have the data in place, you can view it in a lot of different ways. You can do the same thing over here with these tools. We'll talk a little bit about those here later. But we're going to start with Kanban, and we're going to call this by status. And status is the only one that we're given an option for to create it for. And there we go. That's it. Done. Okay, now that we've got the tool in place, let's fill in with some sample ideas for videos. Let's say here, this is this upcoming Saturday. So I'm going to say Airtable tutorial. Best books to read. How to read more books. Okay, these are actually all in this category, new/banked. The uncategorized I don't ever use. Okay, we should be a little bit more thorough with using the fields that we've created for ourselves. If we're posting videos every Saturday, then after the 27th would be October 4th. And then after October 4th would be October 11th. We can also add our custom thumbnails in here. Okay, now the way that we have this set up right now, it's okay because we inputted these records in the order that we want them, which is chronologically from the earliest to the latest. But the problem is, if we were to accidentally move one of these or add a new one right in the middle, they're going to get all mishmashed and they're not going to be in order anymore because they don't have a forced ordering order right now. So what we want to do is order by the target date first. So we're going to do that right now. So come up here to the sort button. We're going to pick target date, and we want it to be sorted from the earliest dates to the latest dates. And the reason I do that is because when I upload a video and then I upload another one a week later and then another one a week later, I like to have a small track record of the last very small handful of videos that I've uploaded. And then once it's been a little while, say 2 to 3 weeks, and I have 3 to 4 videos listed here, uploaded, then I like to move that earliest one over into the archive area. And then as soon as I drop it in there, it should disappear based on the edits that we're going to be making here in just a second. Because then I still have access to it. All the data is still there. It's just invisible, and I don't have to look at it anymore because it's been enough time. I don't have to worry about it anymore. That's the way that I like to do it. Of course, you're free to do it in the custom way that you like to do it. The other thing I'm going to sort by, and generally this doesn't even come into use, but you can do it if you like. I just like to have a second sorted field by that created date. And that way, in case there's overlap with the target dates, it would be unambiguous for Airtable to know between those two different dates which have the same target date, which one should I prioritize. The created date being from earliest to latest. That means that if I made a video earlier, if I created a record in Airtable earlier, then that's going to be prioritized and shown first. And that to me is logical because that means a video idea has been in my database longer, and so it deserves probably to have my attention before those that have come later, because otherwise I'm going to be neglecting the ones that are the oldest ones. Okay, so let's try it out. Everything is in place. It's pretty simple to set up, right? But despite its simplicity, this is an incredibly, incredibly powerful tool. And you can see just how customizable it is. Just having a base understanding of what it is that you're after and then putting it into practice is the main thing. So it's all in place. Let's walk through a couple of examples just to show you how it works. So these are ideas that I've got inside my database, and I'm ready to start working on them. Let's pick one. And actually, because they've already got the thumbnails, they shouldn't even be in new/bank. They should actually be over here in packaged because they're all packaged already. That is, they have the thumbnails. I haven't made the descriptions yet, but we're just going to ignore that for now. You can pretend that the description is in here. You can say, in this video, I talk about this, da-da-da-da. And maybe you have some other resources mentioned, and maybe you have some social media stuff, some social media links, etc., right? You got all that stuff kind of lined out as a template, and you can use that you can have a template ready for you inside Airtable to use again and again. That's going to be up to you. But then once it's been packaged and now I want to pick and start working on a video, I'm going to look at all these packages that I have done, and I'm going to say, I'd like to do this one first. And so I'm going to put it over in favorite packages. And that's all I have to do. I don't even necessarily have to do any work that day or any more work. I could just leave it at this, and then I know where I'm focusing next. Now that is the one that I'm focusing on, this is the video that I'm going to be focusing on finishing the description, on writing out the chapter titles and everything. And that doesn't mean that I'll have the times of each chapter of the video completed, because I can't have that done until the video's been shot and edited, right? Because I don't know where the chapters are going to be. But I could line out the chapters as I'm doing for this video right now. I have the intro, the overview, creating our fields, creating kanban view, etc. And I can fill that out ahead of time, even though the times are going to be slightly different than what I have written there. Now that I've got it favorited and I'm working on it, and let's say that I've completed the video and I've edited it and everything, and I've finalized the description and I'm ready to go. Now I can upload it to YouTube. This is all happening outside of Airtable. I'm just using it to keep myself organized. Now that I've uploaded it to YouTube and I've scheduled it for the following Saturday, that 9/27 target date, now I'm going to move this card over to uploaded, and I'm done. And I'm ready. Now let's say that I repeat the process several times. 10:04 comes around, then I post another video. 10:11 comes around, I post another video. Now I feel comfortable. I don't need to see this in front of me anymore. It's been enough time. I can go ahead and move it over to archived. What I want to happen now is I want this to disappear. And so what we're gonna do, the last thing that we're gonna do is come up to filter, and we wanna make a condition that will make it so that anything that has the status archive is automatically filtered out of this view so that we don't see it. And that way, once we move it over to that field or that status, it'll immediately disappear. So let's try it out. And we're gonna filter. I'm gonna do where the status is not archive. Okay, so nothing happened, but it's in place now. What that filter does is now anything in this status is not going to show in this by status view that we have in the Kanban board, so that I can move something over to it, and look at that, it immediately disappears just like magic. It's pretty cool. All right, last little bonus that I wanted to share with you guys. One of the big reasons that I use this process is for idea capture. And in order to capture ideas, I wanted a way to do it on my phone, because my phone is basically always with me, whereas my laptop is obviously not. And so I needed something from my home screen that I could use to capture video ideas. And that you can see is right here, YouTube videos there in the center. This button takes me directly to the YouTube videos database that we made together in this video. And as soon as I open it, I can scroll over into my new/banked area, click the little plus button, and add a new idea immediately. Tree, free, through, January. That was literally just something off the top of my head. I have no idea what it means. Okay, so I want to show you how to make that in this little snippet. The first thing you're going to do, you're going to download Airtable from the Play Store. By the way, this is for Android users. I'm sure it's very similar for iPhone, but I mean, to be honest, your first mistake is buying an iPhone. So if you did that, you might want to consider switching. Come over to Airtable and go to your database that you just made. The one that we made together in this video is this one. And what you're gonna do, once you get to this by status view that you want, the one that we made together, you're gonna come to the top three little hamburger menu up here in the top. Mine is in Spanish, I apologize. But in English, what this means, the second button here, is add to the home screen. Añadir. And now what happened was a little new button was added to the home screen. It's kind of like a widget, but it'll take you directly to that place that you were in inside your database, and that way now you can add ideas really, really quickly and easily from your phone.